Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining our webinar today titled Save Hours Every Week, How to Master Showing Time and SentriLock. So what I want to do first is to start the webinar with a quick visualization. So imagine that it is 8 p.m. on a Tuesday evening. You have a client that's coming into town tomorrow, late morning, we'll say, who just sent the properties that they wanted to see to you. And there are six in total, and they're only here for like 5 or 6 hours just to see those showings. So, first, imagine that you log into MLS to schedule these properties. And on each property, the showing instructions say schedule through showing time. And when you click on the showing time button, you only receive a message that says, please call the listing agent at 321-555-1234 to schedule a showing. So you spend more time calling and following up with a text to all six of the showing agents. And because it's after 8 p.m., no one is responding to you. So you end up getting very little sleep because no one got back to you, and you're afraid that this buyer is flying into town tomorrow and you're not going to have any showings confirmed to them. So when you finally hear back from a few of the agents the next morning, you find out that the confirmed properties all have SentriLock access, which you don't have. So then you have to reach back out to the agent to request one-time codes in order to access the properties as you're driving to meet your buyer at one of those properties. So I am sure that this happens to all of us at least once a week, if not more, right? So next, I want you to imagine that you log into MLS to schedule the same properties again. And on each property, the showing instructions say to schedule through showing time. So you hold your breath and you click on the showing time button, and voila, like magic, you're able to schedule the showings. And within minutes, you have all six properties scheduled. And on the showing instructions, it states that all six of these properties are on SentriLock, which you don't have, but you do receive instructions on all of those showing instructions that walk you through how to set up the Sentry Connect app if you don't have it, so that you have access for all of your showings that day. So that's what we're going to cover in this training today. My goal is to teach you 5 best practices from showing time, and then just a quick tutorial on how to utilize SentriLock when you don't have access. That should save you hours every week, allowing you to be more productive and task driven. So I do have one of my assistants, Ria, with us today that will be monitoring the chat. So please feel free to drop in questions as I'm going through any of these tips. And at the end of the showing time tips, we'll answer any questions that you have. And, really because of the content of this webinar, I don't have a presentation prepared, so to speak, because I just want to share my screen and kind of go through these best practices while I'm showing you the tools that we utilize. And again, just a reminder, the webinar is being recorded and will be emailed out after the call to everyone that has registered. So let's go ahead and dive in and discuss my top 5 tips to mastering showing time. So tip 1 for mastering showing time is in appointment settings. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. And I'm going to pick a listing. So I'm going to walk you through one of my short-term rental listings, which also could be used for properties that are owner occupied that may have someone that needs to approve the showing prior to confirming it with the showing agent. So as I mentioned before, our goal at Kelly French Real Estate is that we want to make it 100% easy for agents to either schedule showings or to write and submit an offer without having to contact our office, because we've already provided all of that information to you and it's in the correct spots where you can easily grab it no matter what time of day it is. And my hope is that by teaching others, we just make it seamless and easy for everyone. So if we go into appointment settings, There's two different appointment types that we typically use that I wanted to share with you. One is appointment required, confirm with any, and the second is go and show. So on the first one, appointment required, confirm with any, what you're able to do through showing time is add as many contacts as you need to. So even if I have let's say I have an absentee owner property that's a short-term rental, and there's five owners, and any five of those want to be able to confirm a showing, you can put all five in there. So for me, we just confirm the appointments. It goes to our email. Um, and then for the owners, we have it set up here that to confirm appointments, they'll get a text message and an email. So both of them will get the text and the email at the same time that a showing was requested. And then once one person approves it, it will get a confirmed showing that's sent out to every person. So only one of these people need to actually confirm the appointment. And like I said, you can add as many as you want to on that. Now, if we go into this is one of my short-term rentals, but I think it's a good example um, on the go and show. Let's say that you have an owner who has restrictions on when they want their property to be shown. So let's say they only want it to be shown between 10 and 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, and then maybe there's one weekend that they're hosting a party or something at their house and they don't want showings that day. You're able to add those showing restrictions into showing time so that it won't allow an agent to book a showing during those times. So here's what it looks like on the listing agent side. You scroll down and click on add a new showing rule. And so you can see on this listing right now, we have a one-time rule that there is a showing restriction on August 9th that it's not available between 2 and 9 p.m. And then it's blocked off also on August 10th, 11th through the 13th. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you on the showing agent side, when you're going to schedule a showing, what that will actually look like on that end. So let's click on showings, make a new request. So this would be just the showing agent going in to make the request. And then this is what you would see on your end. So as I mentioned before, so this is today. It's blocked off through right now. And then it's available from 12 p.m. on today through that Saturday at 2 p.m. And then what we like to do as well, Ria, can you go ahead and mute everyone, please? Thank you. Um, so as a courtesy, we also put in our MLS down on Realtor Remarks, if there's agents that read the Realtor Remarks, that this home is in a short-term rental program, please use showing time to schedule. If the calendar is blocked off, it is unavailable to show. So that just gives agents another tip that if they do go on and it looks like it is that it's blocked off and cannot be shown. So then going back over to showing time, going back into that same listing. So what I also like to share as well is, lots of times you may have it set up as go and show, or you may have it set as appointment required, and that showing gets approved. If you don't have any information on the access information, it's still going to trigger a phone call to get that access information. So make sure that you are as detailed as possible and put all of that information in here. So on here, you can see for this listing that it's a guard gated. You have to show your ID. There's a keypad on the front door, what the code is. And then we add in notes for appointment staff. So if someone calls into showing time for the listing, they have information there. And then also notes for the showing agent. So we always like to put our phone number in there. That way, if you're at a showing and you have difficulty getting in or the code's not working, our office number is right there and you can quickly find it so that you can give us a call to get into the property. So then tip 2 for mastering showing time is the listing activity report. So this is a great report that I like to use when I am providing feedback to my owners about what's going on with their listing. So up at the top, it has for the life of the listing, how many appointments we've had, how many in the last 30 days, how many in the last 7 days. But more important, what I like to look at and what my team looks at is down here at the bottom. This shows you all the feedback and all the activity on the property. And then over here, it has feedback, and you can see where it says not received or has been received. Our goal for our owners when we take listings is that we get 90% of feedback from agents. So oftentimes we'll allow showing time to send out the 3 reminders for the showing agent to provide feedback. And if they haven't, then we start reaching out to them via phone or email or text to try to get that feedback. And one of the KPIs that one of my assistants has that for the listing coordinator is that she gets 90% feedback on all of our listings. So then if you scroll up, this is where you'll see the actual feedback on the listings. It has when the showing was, who the agent was that showed it, and the time, and the feedback. Here you'll see, let me just show the top of this. It says available to homeowner. So we have our settings set up that we can review the feedback that comes in and edit it if needed, if sometimes it doesn't make sense or it doesn't pertain to the listing itself. We may update that feedback before the owner gets it. And then once we click the button to publish it, it'll actually be sent out to the owners. So if you see this up here that says yes, that means that that feedback has been sent to the owner. Now, we handle a lot of listings with absentee and international owners. And so we typically may not set them up on showing time or like completely publish all of the information. And instead, we send them either a weekly or a biweekly feedback report, which it kind of incorporates all the information that's happened over the last week or 2 weeks. We include a list track report, which I'll go through shortly. It includes any open houses that we've had, any feedback, any showings, any feedback, all of that. And not a lot of agents know this, but you can actually edit the feedback before you publish it, as I just mentioned. And I'll show you real quick where to go to that. So if you go under feedback and you're under my feedback, you can see right here where there's a little pencil. So this one in particular, we have not received feedback on yet. So let's say one of my assistants calls this agent and he verbally tells her feedback over the phone. We typically will just type it in here and click save. So this is a good spot where you can edit anything or update or add feedback. Once you click save, then you can publish it. So then tip 3 for mastering showing time is what's called the price benchmark report. So if you go into reports on showing time, it's the first report that comes up and you click run report. All of your active listings should pop up. And I'm going to use this one as an example. So this should look very familiar to if you're creating a CMA on Stellar. So very similar. You can change any of these parameters that you would like to change. If everything looks good, just click on Run Report. And it's going to take a couple seconds to build the report, and then it'll automatically download it for you. And the report does have typically 4 pages. The first 2 pages are what I like to use. That's the information that I use for my clients. So if I'm going to email this to them in preparation for a phone call about a price reduction, I would probably just save the first 2 pages and send those to them. So this is on one of my listings in Reunion. At the top, it'll show information on how many showings you've had, what your days on market are. And then as you scroll down, it just gives you some really good comparable data based on similar properties on that first screen that you chose for your property. But what I really like is this second page that has the pricing comparisons. So it looks at active, pending, and sold listings and where you're at compared to the median in the community. So, for instance, on active listings, the median price is here, and we're actually priced a little bit higher than the median, but you'll see there are some other ones that are higher as well. But what I think is most important is on the pending and the sold listings. So we are right in line with the median on the pending listings. And what has sold in the last 80 days, we're actually below the median. So if your listing ended up being, up here, as you're having that conversation with why you think you should do a price reduction, this is a great tool that you can have that has some graphs on it that you can share with your clients at the same time for them to take a look at. So let's get out of here and go back into ShowingTime. And then tip 4 for mastering ShowingTime is sending notifications to agents. So if we go back into my listings, I'm going to click on that same one again. And it'll be, sorry, my mouse is stuck. There we go. Send notifications. So this pops up when you click on send agent notifications. You have a couple different options of who you want to send the message to. Agents that have shown the property in the last 180 days, all agents in my firm, and then who you can copy. And you have 2 options for what type of message you want to send out. One is price adjustment and one is other. So price adjustment, it's automatically going to populate the information for you. So you've probably received some of these emails in the past from other agents that says, update, a price adjustment has just been made on X address. And then it has the information down in the message. Now, if you want to do something else like an open house announcement or the property is available to show during this time, you can create that yourself. Once you hit send, it'll be sent to everyone that is on that list. Now, what we've also been doing lately is pulling the reverse prospecting list from the listing itself in MLS. And then we download that list and send an email out to all of the agents that we send it through Constant Contact. And then we include what the buyer agent commission is on that, as well as the price reduction or the open house or whatever our message is to other agents. So I will close out of here. And then tip 5 for mastering ShowingTime is what's called a list track report. And it's actually through Stellar. So if you have logged into your Stellar account and you're at this main page, you're just going to scroll all the way down until you see list track, and you're going to click on access this tool. And it's going to initially bring up all of your active listings. So if you click on listings, each one of your listings should appear. Now what we do is we schedule, typically we will schedule, if we're sending a feedback report to our owners biweekly, we'll schedule the report to be sent biweekly so that it automatically goes into my email. And then we'll forward that list track report to the owners along with their feedback report. There's also another option here where you can just force it to send you a property. And this is what it looks like when it comes into your email. So it has the address, and then we name it biweekly report of online activity. I think this is a really great tool that you can use for your sellers when you are wanting to look at your online analytics. It gives you some great statistics to use. So it has the stats for the period, it has the period below, how many property views you've had, how many have favorited, and then it gives you your top 10 websites and top 10 cities of where those views are coming from. What a lot of people don't do or don't know to do is to click on this button at the bottom where it says view more stats for your listing. And then it gives you just a ton of really good analytics to share with your owners. So you can, on each one of these categories, as we scroll down, you can do it life of listing, last 7 days, last 30 days, whichever you like. It's going to give you a graph of where all of your views are coming from. This is the graph that I use a lot. So typically, like when we schedule an open house on the property or we do a price reduction, both of those will push your online analytics up on your property. So, if somebody has your listing that they favorited on Zillow that they're watching, if you do a price reduction or you do an open house, it's going to push that to that potential buyer by saying, hey, something different is going on. And that's usually when we can see an uptick in views. So this is most likely either an open house or a price reduction or something like that that we did on the property that helps to boost those online analytics. And then the other one I like to look at is similar homes. So if you're looking at your listing and you want to know how it's comparing to views based on similar properties within the community, it'll show you here on this graph. So you can see based on this other listing in the same community, our views are much higher. So that's kind of how we use that report. So those are the 5 tips that I have on mastering showing time. Before we move on to SentriLock, is there any questions that anyone has? Ria, is there anything that's in the chat?
So far, none yet.
Okay, perfect. So if you do have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Ria is going to be monitoring that. Since a lot of agents have moved over to SentriLock from using Super E-keys last year, or, I kind of feel like it's maybe a split of 50-50. There's a lot of agents that don't have SentriLock that don't really understand how it works. And I think it's important to share this information out to the general public so that we can all just be aware. And so what happens most often, as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, is an agent will schedule a showing on one of our properties, and then it'll come up that they don't have SentriLock access, and they'll send us a text or call the office or send us an email and let us know that they don't have SentriLock access and would like a one-time code. Well, for us, by giving out a one-time code, it's really just like giving out a combo to any agent, right? And with that code or that combo, anybody can use it. So our best practices in our office is that we prefer to only give out one-time codes to licensed professionals, such as an appraiser or a home inspector. And for everyone else, meaning licensed agents, what we do is we put the information onto the confirmation that you receive on showing time that says, you indicated that you do not have access to SentriLock, and we've granted you access through an app that you can download for free called Sentry Connect. So you can just go into your app store and download that app, and that allows you to get access into SentriLock without having the SentriLock paid program that you use. So even though you're not using SentriLock on your listings, you may still be using Supra. You can still gain access to those properties. So we do have a best practices sheet that we use in our office that has step-by-step instructions for how to download the app and what those instructions look like in order for agents to access the property. So if you would like those step-by-step instructions on how to get that access, we can definitely send that to you. So are there any questions on just that brief overview of SentriLock? Okay, I see someone said I would love step-by-step instructions. So um, what I will do is I know we've covered a ton of information in a short period of time today, and my hope is that you have at least found one nugget to take away and implement to make your work week a lot easier using either Showing Time or SentriLock. And everyone who has registered for the webinar will receive a copy of the replay. I believe it's scheduled to go out tomorrow. And if you would like a copy of any of the additional tools that I mentioned throughout the webinar, so the weekly and the biweekly feedback reports that we send out to our clients, I really love sending those out because I set the expectation at the beginning when I go to my listing appointments that, say it's an owner occupied home. When I'm at the listing appointment, I tell them, I say, I want you to know that every Tuesday you are going to hear from me, and I'm going to give you all the information about any open houses we've had, what that feedback is, any showings that we've had, along with feedback. I'm going to give you your online analytic reports. And what that does is that stops them from reaching out to us every single time there's a showing or an open house to ask what the feedback is, because they know that, unless something urgent comes up or we receive an offer or something that's time sensitive, that I need to talk with them about, that they will always hear from me every Tuesday. So that's helped to cut down on a lot of the back and forth communication with owners, especially if you're carrying a large amount of listings. So I have that I can share with you to get an idea of what we send out. If you would like a copy of the list track report, just kind of what that looks like and how we utilize that with the weekly and biweekly feedback reports, as well as the Sentry Connect instructions. What I would like you to do is just email me at kelly@kellyfrenchrealestate.com and just put in the subject line webinar tools. And then we'll go ahead, we'll just put an email together that we'll send to everyone that has all of those tools that are in there. And Ria went ahead and put that in the chat for you. So it's just kelly@kellyfrenchrealestate.com and just put in the subject line webinar tools. We'll reply to you and have all of that information to you.
Kelly
And then
French.
oh, go ahead. Did you have a question? No? Okay. One last announcement before we wrap this up is I have another free webinar coming up on Wednesday, August 20th at noon, and it's titled How I Earned 1 Million Plus in Commissions from Direct Mail. So that's how I got into real estate in 2015 is through direct mail, and it's continued to be a huge percent of where I get my business from every year. So I wanted to share some tips and tools for everyone on direct mail. So if you are interested and want more information on that webinar, you'll receive all of that information through the Tuesday emails that I send. And it'll have the link to register similar as this, and you can go ahead and register for it at that time. So if there's not any more questions, we'll go ahead and hop off. But thank you for everyone that joined, and I will see you soon. Thank you.